Virginia is changing due to its demographics, people moving into the state. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize fully unless they analyze both election results and census results. 1 in 10 Virginians was born outside this country. 5 in 10 Virginians were born outside this state. The top 10 states from which people are migrating into Virginia are New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, North Carolina, Florida, Texas, California, and 2 others I can't remember. Virginia is changing not only due to its demographics, it's changing due to the nature of the political parties and their candidates and due to the quality of the campaigns. Not all campaigns are created equal, and Barack Obama's was more focused, better organized, and much better funded than John McCain's. Let me tell you a little story about facts and numbers. In academic life, there are things called lies, damned lies, and statistics. In political reporting, there are numbers and there are facts, and there are numbers and facts that sometimes people can agree upon. The universe of accepted numbers and facts in politics is shrinking. That is not a good thing, because politicians and journalists and pundits don't get along well when they can't agree on what are the real numbers and what are the real facts. It could just be that campaigns are not a good time to find agreements on these things, but I think it's a lot deeper than that. Politics, like the economy, may be giving us all gray hair a little bit faster. I think, however, we live in an age of opportunity, because when something is really broken, when we live in an age of crisis, there's a chance to start over. Our politics is broken. Our media is falling apart, and our economic system is cracking around us. I got to watch the media fall apart from the inside, as newspapers found themselves in free fall. Once proud institutions, such as the New York Times, the Richmond Times-Dispatch, are losing readership, losing advertising faster than they know how to plan to stop the hemorrhaging. Buyouts and layoffs are depleting newsrooms across the country. News holes are shrinking, which is an industry term for having less space in which to print news. There are thousands and thousands of new sources of information, many of them freely and readily available to all of us across the internet. Yet good information can be a problem to find. Information is now subject to the name of the game of that great old TV show that should have been named Whom Do You Trust? We live in an age of designer information. Anyone who wishes can design the information sources from which one gets his news to completely agree with and never challenge his or her predispositions. Do you like Sarah Palin? You have to watch Fox News. Do you like Barack Obama? MSNBC. For those of us who like Sarah Palin and Barack Obama, you had to have a quick clicker and be prepared to be insulted half the time. I co-hosted and moderated an issue forum in September between Virgil Goode and Tom Perriello, at which more than 350 people came to see the congressional candidates. No matter who you were for at that forum, it was pretty clear that most of the people who attended came with their minds already made up. They enjoyed cheering their guy and sometimes booing the other guy. That's pretty normal. What's not normal is people getting in the same room from different sides of the political spectrum. It's a good exercise, learning how to really listen to the other side. The nation right now is pretty evenly divided, split down the middle into hard partisan camps that don't often meet or understand each other. They don't meet in the middle, they don't read or watch the same information sources. They demonize each other's political heroes and often their information sources. The Sorensen Institute for Political Leadership at UVA, a place I've worked since April, is trying to remove the demonization from governing. We help find and train leaders in both political parties in public service who believe in forming public policy, and that forming public policy should be something that more than one political party engages in. Too often today, our political system only reacts to crisis. Our government leaders are reduced to being crisis managers. But I think more and more people are willing to embrace the mission of the Sorensen Institute, which is to bring civility to the political process, at least in governing, and to infuse our governance with more bipartisan policy discussions and to teach ethics in an age of cynicism. I hope all of you can join in that message. I think there is plenty of room for the two political parties to come together on issues in which there can be common ground. Transparency in government and accountability in government are two issues that are not owned by either party and shouldn't be. Virginia is in the state of change because politicians realize they can analyze their election results. Virginia's population is more diverse, more foreign-born, more full of expanding cultural identities, and the politics of playing nasty to the base becomes less and less a winning proposition. The top 5 countries of birth for foreign-born Virginians are El Salvador, Mexico, Korea, the Philippines, and India. As the demographics people at the University of Virginia point out, the parties and the candidates that ignore those populations are ignoring the future voter base. Change can be a good thing. It can be a very good thing for people in politics. And I look forward to your questions on how we can change the media, which is changing in ways that right now the media doesn't even comprehend. Thank you.
I think that we have a tremendous challenge ahead of us, and I can only say that I'm one of the few people in the room with a lot of gray hair. And so I have seen this before. The first time I got involved in politics, I was in junior high, and Barry Goldwater was the candidate. And those of you who have read any history know that he was buried under a landslide, and the Republican Party and the conservative movement was really declared dead. But that didn't stop the remnant. And folks, that's what we are today. We're the remnant. We're the people who believe in human liberty. Every person that you've heard speak today has talked to you about important and key issues and brought to your attention important and key material, and I hope you take advantage of that. In any event, that was 1964, 65, and we rose again, and in 1980, we elected Ronald Reagan president and reversed the ship of state from a very bad direction to very good directions. Unfortunately, here we are again. We have another terrible situation on our hands, and you've heard about a lot of the issues that are coming up, so I really don't want to talk to you about that. I just want to kind of put some of these things in perspective and talk a little bit about what we need to be thinking about as what is really the remnant here in Virginia now. And so let me proceed. First of all, it's important that we focus on principles. We talk a lot about issues, and issues are very important, but it is going to fall to the remnant to re-educate, newly educate, and help people understand what the principles of America are. And I think that's one thing that all of our speakers today are united upon: core principles. Even conservative center-right folks can have differences in shading on particular issues. But we've got to get back to what those core principles are, and we have to remember we've had a failed public education system in the United States for many years. And so we have probably 2 generations of people younger than most of us in this room who may not even understand what a core principle is. So we have to spend time. It's hard work. We have to spend time getting the word out, what they are, and making sure that we're educating our sphere of influence on those core principles. I believe that America still is a center-right nation, and for my libertarian friends, I include you in that coalition. I know sometimes libertarians don't like that, but we are a center-right nation, and we haven't lost that yet, I do not believe. But we have to regain all of the people, and we have to make sure that those people have the core principles, and they have to be involved in our issues in the future.